Hi, this is CK at CK Education with today's advice for life. Sometimes when you watch YouTube videos and you know how when people get they get mugged or they get robbed or something terrible happens on the street or something like this to them and later on they're interviewed by news reporter or interviewed by the police or something like that. A lot of people say things like, I just felt in my gut. I had this instinctive feeling. I just had this instinct, that something was a little bit off, that that person was where they shouldn't have been, or they were looking at me kind of weird, or I shouldn't have gone in there, or I shouldn't have done this, or, I shouldn't have approached that person. I shouldn't have let that person approach me. Whatever, people talk about this kind of thing. I just knew for some reason I shouldn't have gone down that road, or, you get things like this after the fact. But while they were feeling it, why didn't they listen to that? Because a lot of times people say things like, well, I was thinking about it, but I thought it's just emotions, and I'm probably just overreacting. So I didn't want to be over dramatic or anything. I didn't want to overreact. So I just ignored it. And then it got them into trouble. But it's the same thing with, a lot of things in life, making decisions about business, about people, about money, about relationships, about, projects, about what street to go down sometimes and what to do in the streets and whatever. But I'm here to say it is so important. It's a God-given radar system that we all have. It's called different things. Some people, it's just this gut feeling. It's just this instinct that I have. It's just this sixth sense that I have, whatever you want to call it. But people have this, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Everybody has this, and we've experienced this. But I'm here to say, next time you feel that about something or someone, rather than ignore it and just say, I think it's probably just an emotional thing. I think just emotions. I think I'm just overreacting. Instead of saying that, sort of take a step back and pause and say, that's a legitimate feeling I have. There's something to that. Pay attention to it and pause on it and listen to it. This is so important. This is not something that, look, I'm an engineer. I'm a very rational, sort of cerebral, just very logical person. This is the way I think. I'm very task-oriented, and this is just my personality, is the way I am. And so a long time ago, when I was younger, I ignored those things. I thought those are just emotional things. You ignore emotion. You make decisions, that are unbiased and objective and data-driven and things like that, not based on emotions, right? This is like, you can't make decisions based on that in life. And I've learned in life that's not true at all, because emotions are real. These gut feelings that we have, these are God-given radar systems, I call them, and everybody has them, and we would do well to pay attention to them. I've often learned in life that when I listened to those things, there were always later on when I just held back a little bit, when I paused a little bit, when I slowed down, when I reflected on it, when I thought about it, I said, oh, wow, there was a reason for that. There are many instances like that. And so whether it was, I was trying to move into a different office one time years ago. And I just, I don't know. I just, every time I went by that office, every time I thought about it, I would go after work and go to that new office space. And and every time I went there, I don't know, just some gut feeling. No, I don't know. I just don't feel like, now the numbers were good. They were giving me a great, rental fee, a rent price. And the owner was very accommodating, and they were going to do a lot of the renovation. They were going to pay for it and everything. I mean, the dry numbers and the data was pretty good. But I just had this gut feeling like, for some reason, I just don't feel it. I just don't feel it. I just don't feel like comfortable, at peace about going and moving to that office. So I put it off and I put it off, and I just kept thinking about it. And finally, the real estate, the commercial real estate agent called me and says, hey, the owner really wants to know, and he's eager to have you as a tenant, and on and on. And I had to tell him, I said, you know what? I can't tell you exactly why, but I just don't feel like this is the right time for me to make the move. So I'm going to have to decline. I really appreciate your help, appreciate your time, but I don't think it's the time. Now, this was years ago, and I was going to move into a bigger office. I had all these plans. I just didn't know why. And then years later, the pandemic hits. And in fact, The small office that I had, in which I was teaching one-to-one, I was teaching students, I even just closed that down because I didn't need it anymore, and so I saved money on rent. And imagine, I'm just thinking back, wow, what if I had moved to that bigger office where I had 5 office spaces and I was going to have, and man, that would have been a bigger hit. That would have been very bad for me. That would have been a great disadvantage for me in this situation right now. But because I stayed in the office that I stayed at, it was a very easy move and transition to just teaching all of my students online. It was just a very natural, just smooth transition, and I'm so glad that I didn't ignore that gut feeling I had when I was considering moving offices years before. And so this is just one example of many, but I'm here to say that these gut feelings that we have, these instinctive, sort of whatever you want to call it, these emotions are very important. And I would encourage you to pay attention to them because you feel them for a reason. I'm CK at CK Education. Thanks so much for watching. And until my next video, I hope you stay well.